Are we live now?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll just check the YouTube as well. Beautiful. Thanks for the title change. I think the beginning part of the live stream was still included, but hopefully that's okay. All right, so it's the hour. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the 2025 annual general meeting for the Australia Indonesia Youth Association. It is the hour, depending on where you are based. We have about six time zones, I think, seven time zones that everyone is using that's on this call. So as everyone trickles into the meeting, we'll give some more time. Thank you all for joining, no matter where you're from, where you're currently based. If people are traveling, I know it's a different hour for everyone around. Just a heads up to people who have just joined as well. This AGM will be live streamed and is currently being live streamed on our Aya YouTube channel. So it is available to any of our Aya members to watch online and to see the updates from the past 2 years, as well as the nomination and the appointment of the new board of directors. Now, before we start the official AGM, we have a few minutes as everyone comes in. Does anyone have any burning questions or any particular questions for the running of this meeting? You can just unmute. So I currently see a few different screens. So if I don't catch you via screen, or if you put any signal online, I won't be able to see it unless you unmute. So I apologize in advance for any of that. As everyone comes through, I will be running through a few slides, and that will include the agenda for today, what we will be going through, the timing as well of this meeting. So because we are in different time zones, I will say on the hour, it will start in about 3 minutes. We will go for an hour and a half maximum. That is the proposed time. However, we're trying to make it as succinct as we can because we understand it's quite late for some people back in Oz as well. But we appreciate everyone taking their Saturday mornings, nights, afternoons to join us today. So I'll give it a few more minutes. Please relax. Yes, it's an AGM and we do have the formal proceedings, but it's also a celebration of what we have done over the past few years, for sure. So thanks, guys. Be back in 2 minutes. If anybody has any technical difficulties, please unmute or put it in the chat so either myself or one of the BODs or our tech team can help with that as well. Please don't email or WhatsApp as I can't check. All right, everyone, 5 PARs. Welcome officially to the 2025 Annual General Meeting for the Australia-Indonesia Youth Association, also known as AYA. Thank you all for joining us, no matter where you are, based, traveling from, etc. We appreciate you joining through either Zoom, but also on our live stream on our YouTube channel. Our annual general meeting is where we come together every 2 years, especially for the AYA national team. And this is where we talk about the past 2 years of our term, what we've done in our portfolios, as well as the appointment of the new board of directors for the next 2 years, and a farewell to the board of directors who are stepping down. So I'll start off with an agenda. So I will start with an opening and welcome, this agenda here today, and then we'll move on to our director reports from 2023 to 2025, and this will be presented by each of the BODs. Afterwards, we will then have speeches from our nominated applicants and the voting. So each of the positions that we will be going through today is the national president position, company secretary, director of partnerships and memberships, director of operations, and director of communications. In relation to the national treasurer role, we will still have Bima as our interim treasurer, and that will be appointed separately. For each of these speeches, we will have the nominated person present a 2-minute speech at maximum, and then right after we'll have the voting for that position. So it'll be quite quick, or should be quite quick as we go through, and you'll be able to listen to everyone who nominates themselves. At the end, we'll just have a really brief conclusion. But before we move on, is there any questions or concerns for the agenda or how much time? I will repeat that as well for the nominated candidates. No? All right, so I just want to acknowledge the people in this call. So we have our board of directors, and we also have our chapter presidents or chapter presidents who have nominated a proxy in their place to represent their chapter, as well as our nominated candidates for each of the positions, the board of director positions. We would also like to thank some people who aren't in this Zoom call specifically, but maybe joining on Zoom or maybe just working behind the scenes as well. So thank you to everyone who has worked within the national chapters. This is a big shout out to you. But then also there's many more of our AYA volunteers that are in our chapters as well who work tirelessly on the ground in person doing a lot of our events. So thank you to everyone, especially for the past 2 years. We definitely could not have done it without you. So moving on to our 2023 to 2025 report, I will start off with talking about how far we've come, where we're going. You will see some portfolio overviews from each of our directors, and we'll talk briefly about some of the successes and challenges as we go through. I would like to give a massive shout out to my board of directors for this 2023 to 2025 period. As you can see on your screen, we have Wisnu, Matthew, Andali, Bima, Jade, Darcy, Rosie, and Sophie. Thank you all for your hard work, dedication, and support throughout this past 2 years. I've really appreciated getting to know you and appreciated all the support you've provided for me as well as the teams on the ground, online, wherever we are. I really appreciate everyone. Just a little personal touch, but like I sometimes WhatsApp you way too much. So I appreciate you always responding in your own times as well and juggling everything with your commitments. AYA National wouldn't run, and AYA as a whole wouldn't run without the board of directors. As much as you might see us or not see us, there's always a lot of work behind the scenes. So thank you to my team. So I just wanted to go through our AYA organizational structure. Just a big overview for everyone. We have our treasurer, ops, comms, partnerships and memberships, NILA, and secretary portfolios. And within each portfolio, we have a lot of teams. As you can see, in the treasurer team, you have the finance and merchandise. In ops, we have ops in Australia, Indonesia, digital, so online, and also our Congress team. Probably our biggest portfolio, who's currently run by Matt as well. in our Ops Oz and Ops Indo teams, you then also have chapters, and in chapters there are much more people involved. So a very big portfolio, very well run by Matt. So thank you for this past 2 years. You can also see here we have comms. So we have our social media team, graphic design, publishing teams, which include content translation, links, and blog. That's run by Rosie. So thanks, Rosie. Also, shout out to Beamer in his treasurer role. He's done a lot on his own for the past 2 years, and also with the support of some officers. In the partnerships and memberships team, we initially had Darcy, who joined us for the first year, and then Andalib, who took over for the second year. And he's been looking over the partnerships, memberships, and research and policy teams, which was very, very useful, which we will see in a few slides, on how useful partnership was to be able to achieve a lot of our goals for the past 2 years. So thank you, Andalib. In Nyla, we have Jade and Nyla, we have Jade and Sophie. Sorry, I just saw the comment come through. In here, we have Nyla Finance, Engagement and Comms, Programs, Partnerships, and Language. Thanks, Jade, for helping pretty much run as a director yourself for the first year, and then Sophie coming on for the second year. This year is very helpful, and I wish you guys the best for your award ceremony at the end of this year. But Nyla is a very big part of Aya that doesn't always get recognized, so I really hope everyone can see the amount of effort that they put into this awards ceremony and this language competition as a whole that runs throughout the year. Lastly, we have our secretary position, which is run by Wisnu, which we also call Wes. He's unable to join us today, but Risky, who is one of his coordinators, will be filling in for his presentation today. Under secretary, we do have the policy side, but we also have people and culture committees that help with our recruitment and pretty much our HR of Aya. So just going back to the beginning, when I was first elected as Pres, I had a few goals. Some I did say to everyone, some I kept personally, but also I pushed for. So first one was revitalizing the WA chapter. When coming into national president, it was still a lot of talk about it. It was just starting, but it hadn't took off yet. And that was one of our goals in connecting the people who are based in Perth with potential partners, the consulate, and also supporters. Secondly was to create more opportunities for Aya volunteers and members. Third, create our first joint congress, which seemed at the time a very far-fetched goal. And lastly was to ensure Aya is financially secure for 2 years ahead, because initially when we started, we hadn't got a grant for a while. And to achieve those goals, I had these 5 tasks of finances, so working with Beamer and finding new funding opportunities, also with partnerships of finding new opportunities to fund events. And then volunteer retention, so making sure people stayed in Aya as volunteers, but also members through benefits and opportunities. Thirdly, to show the membership benefits that you have. If you join Aya, this is what you can get in return. Fourth, to network, to find long-lasting new partnerships. Fifth, and to use our communications platforms because we have a growing following. So the timeline of these 2 years started in July 2023, and as you can see here, we didn't have an AII grant from the past 3 years, which created a bit of a financial concern. So coming into it, we weren't sure about what Aya's, financial sustainability was. We were trying the best that we could to understand how we got into this position, which is no one's fault in general, but just with COVID and everything, I think we didn't have as much funding from external sources. So yep, that was one of our goals that I had put as well. So then in November, I presented at the Indonesia Australia Business Council conference in Jakarta. And that was really good in talking to people in the business space about why youth in the Aussie Indo space is so important. We had our Pet Share 2 collaboration as they toured around Australia. We collaborated with IEP. We did Real Oz Indo film screenings. We did our Congress in 2024 in Melbourne and in Jakarta. And then we had an opportunity where Aya was invited to be a pastoral care officer at the ASEAN Australia Summit. And that was in Melbourne. We also got asked to host the Indonesia-Australia Banking Forum with CIMB. We were successful finally by early 24, mid 2024 in the AII grant funding. So our application actually went through and we were successful. So that helped set us up for that year and a bit ahead. And our annual 2023 was released. In our second year of our term, so in July, we implemented the new Wave platform. So that's where all of our memberships go through, our newsletters go through, and also just having a better tracking and security of all the data. Initially, it was in some shared folders in Google Cloud, so it just wasn't as secure. So we wanted to make sure everything was more secure, more straightforward, and easier to access. And it also helped us save on cost by putting it all together. We also started a new chapter in Jawa Timur, which is very exciting. And then we had collaborations with Indo Insider Tours in Jogja, had another IEP collaboration, and we had our first joint congress in Bali, which was a record for AYA and a record in our partnerships and sponsorships, which I'll let Andalib talk about a bit later. We updated our website to ensure it was faster and more seamless. And these are two partnerships we made with Cinta Bahasa and IABC to ensure AYA members got discounted rates for either their membership or their services. So this is how we can help increase, Indonesian language in Australia. And then IABC was to help increase the business and networking side. We created Indonesia Fair in 2025 in New South Wales, and then our AYA annual was released in July, so a few weeks ago. And most recently, we have just approved for our Bali chapter to be created. So please give that a follow. So as I said before, I had my 4 goals as Pres, and I would say that it was very much achieved. WA has been thriving, and that's not just on my end, but the WA chapter has done a lot to ensure that the people in Perth specifically are engaged in the Aussindo space. The opportunities with ASEAN was a good one. Our joint congress was a success, and then we got AII funding for 2025. So it secures us, I guess, financially. I'm not too sure about the 2 years, but it should be enough. So hopefully we're leaving the BOD in good hands. So these are just some highlights picture-wise. I won't speak about everything, but all of our chapters have been doing amazing work, and I think you can see that all on our social media and our annual. All right, I'll move on to our director updates. We'll be starting off with with our secretary. So Risky has been nominated by Wes to do the secretary update.
Okay, thank you so much, Claudia. I'm going to present my screen. Okay, so can you see it clearly now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Claudia, for the time. My name is Rizky. I'm the current one of the 2 people and culture coordinator. Today I'll be presenting on the behalf of Mas West. He apologizes because he could not present today due to his work commitments, but he wishes the new BOD good luck, and he had a really great time working with the previous BOD for the past 2 years. So a bit of a quick summary for what I'm going to present today. The first 2, I'm not going to get into details, but the first one is our scopes of portfolio is that basically the company secretary is in charge for the AYA governance according to the SOP as well as the policies. And then we are also in charge for the end-to-end volunteer journey from the beginning to end. And then the second point is that there was a major change in the portfolio structure where the special project teams was moved to the operations portfolio. So as of now, the company secretary is responsible to oversee only one portfolio, which is the people and culture. Moving on to the 2025 figures. So the estimated number of volunteers recruited over the years for 2023 were 54 volunteers, and for 2024 there were 64 volunteers, and in 2025, there were 38 volunteers as of July 25th, 2025. This information is based off of the initial data form. So if you are a new volunteer, you will have to fill out this form in order to proceed with the volunteer. And then the second point is that the estimated total number of volunteers for 2023 is 202 volunteers. For 2024, there were 277 volunteers, and this year there are 314 volunteers. So there's a trend upwards, and this count is based on the manual count of AYA contact details. Since it's continuously updated, it may not be too accurate. So here are a few keynotes that MassWest has left to be presented. The first point is creating governance versus maintaining governance. So before 2023, it was a time where most of the current policies or standard operating procedures were drafted and finalized. However, for the previous BOD, it focused more on maintaining and updating the policies and SOPs. And then the second point is that inductions are crucial to ensure governance. So many volunteers' issues escalated to BOD member can actually be traced back to the breaches of policies as well as the SOPs. And then general inductions are done by request or on needs basis, for example, after a big round of recruitment. However, this poses a question like, should this be made more regular? Or how do we ensure that volunteers understand our policies as well as the SOPs? A challenge in regards to this is that there is a limited capacity because AYA is operating as an NGO and volunteer base. So it may be hard to enforce like complete understanding regarding all of this. And then another point is in regards to volunteers who are missing in action and offboarding volunteers. So the bulk of communications to missing in action volunteers is now done by the team leader themselves, while the people and culture team acts as the final check before offboarding. Anecdotal evidence shows that many volunteers who are missing in action or are quitting due to time commitments. However, some of them straight up don't respond to communication. So because of that, interviews were scarce, as many did not respond to invitations to conduct exit interviews or to fill out the exit interview form. Again, this is another limitation in regards to AYA being an NGO or a volunteer-run initiative. So that's all the presentation from the company secretary. Thank you so much. I give it back to Claudia.
Thanks, Rizky. Just share. You can all see my screen, right? All right, so next we have our finance update, and that will be by Mas Bima.
Hey, thank you, Claudia. Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna share an update, like our current financial status at the moment. So it's in a high level. So as you can see, I've been with as a finance national treasurer. So it's been like 6 years. So this is my 6th year. And for the last 3 years, I think we can see there's like we can secure some funding, especially through the grant income, as Claudia mentioned before. And then I think I'm just gonna share some highlight from the past 2 years. So if you can see from the screen that I think we can see there's a decline in the membership income, grant income, and other income. And then why I highlighted is in the red itself, because like I think although in 2025 we already like reestablish another chapter, and then we also have another chapter, I think we need to figure out why the membership income itself is declining in terms of the paid members. And then another thing, in terms of the grant income, as you can see, it's declined from 50 to 35K, but then itself, most of the grantees from the AI grant itself didn't get any like a full request. So I don't think they get like a full 50K. So mostly they get it like a below 40K or just like a portion of what they requested. But then it's still good that we can secure funding from the AI grant for 2 consecutive years, because like previously we didn't get any grant income. And then for another one will be other income. Other income itself is like another partnership that we established. So for example, in 2024, we secure a partnership with Value Learning, and then we secure like two partnership every year, but then I think we secure the funding itself like within one financial year. So that's why there's a huge increase in other income. And we also had a strategic partnership for the what's it, Petualangan Sherina thing. So it's also come into the other income bucket. So that's why it's quite a big jump in other income in 2024. But then in 2025, we haven't really secured any strategic initiative that is outside from any AYA events itself. So it's outside the AYA events for this one. But then we can see a lot of increase. So I think our financial status is quite good at the moment. So we secure more sponsorships, and then it is also because we try to push like another source of income when we want to create an event, especially for Congress. If you're aware that we did a joint Congress this year, and we tried to push a lot to gain a lot of Congress sponsorship. That's why we see a huge increase in the sponsorship income. And it's also because, as you can see here, the Congress expense itself also increasing from 13K to 17K because like we try to flew all chapter presidents from Indonesia and also Australia to Bali. So there's a lot of expenses that occurred there. But then I highlighted in the yellow because I don't want to say that it's good or bad, but then I think if we can secure like funding or like a sponsorship, I think it will be good if we can like continue it in the future years. So, and then another thing will be like the entry fee income. We can see a lot of chapter are now actively, like charging the future, like for the members or maybe non-members to join that events. And also, I think it also helped with the a lot of big events. I think that like a quiz night, something like that, like a lot of big events, or maybe sports events is also charging members or non-members to pay. And then the last one will be operational expense. Why I mark it in the green one, because I think if we, spend a lot of money on operational expense, then it means that AYA is live. And if you see there's also a huge increase, it's also because we try to push the spending. Like we want to use the AI grant, the 50K that we already received in the previous year. So we want to maximize what we already had. And I think the other one will be the interest expense because starting from this year, we also have a volunteer personal accidents insurance. So that's why there's a little bit increase there. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Bima. I'll just note to everyone, if you have any questions, we'll have a little bit of time at the end of the presentations. All right, next we have our memberships and partnerships portfolio by Andalib.
Thanks very much, Claudia. So it has been a great past 2 years for partnerships and memberships. So just elaborating on some of the things that Claudia has already spoken about. So as she said, I supported AsiaLink for the Emerging Leaders Dialogue at the ASEAN Australia Special Summit in 2024. So, and we received some financial remuneration as well for that. So it was mutually beneficial arrangement, and AsiaLink was very happy with that partnership and the professionalism of our committee members who were involved. Congress 2024 and 2025, I think we've seen increasing trend in the past two congresses of sponsorship as a vehicle for covering our costs, some of our costs, and also using some of that sponsorship funding to increase the scale of what we're able to deliver. So as Bima pointed out, because of the scale of the sponsorship, we were able to proceed with the joint congress in Bali for the first time. And yeah, hopefully the next partnerships team will be able to continue that in supporting Congress. As Claudia pointed out, Cinta Bahasa Indonesian Language School, so we have secured an arrangement where AYA members can receive 15% off their tuition fees. So again, it's aligning our mission of promoting Indonesian language learning and Indonesian literacy, and also helping to drive potential students to Cinta Bahasa. Indonesia Australia Business Council, so getting a membership rate of 1 million rupiah as opposed to the standard 3 million. So creating greater access to IABC events for our members. And now, most recently, we're a partner for the Indoors Conference, which is taking place um, in Brisbane on the 21st of August. In terms of membership, so as Claudia pointed out, we transitioned to the new Wave CRM system in July 2024. So obviously there was been some transition issues as we got used to the new system, but I think as we came on board, we were really able to see the benefits that come out of that. It's much easier to navigate and ascertain who's a member, who's not a member, and then able to prescribe those member-only benefits. We're currently at 631 active members. So in the last financial year, that's been an increase of about 46 new members. And so in the past couple of years, like around 2023, we're just under around 550. So about 80 plus new members over that period. So hopefully this trend will continue as we can deliver more of those member exclusive benefits. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, and this slide just goes into more detail about the sponsorship, the way we were able to secure for the 2024 and 2025 Congress. So 2024 is really when we started to more actively pursue financial and in-kind sponsorship. And then because we grew the scale of Congress this year, taking place in Bali with chapter presidents and board members from across Australia and Indonesia, we needed additional investment to cover the costs and enhance expanded scale. But we did very well, over 12,000 Australian dollars in financial sponsorship, also in kind, which was able to cover about 70% of the costs. So yeah, again, hopefully we can continue that next year. Next slide, please. And yeah, just a bit more information about partnership arrangements that we've come to this year with Cita Bahasa, IABC, and Indoors Conference. And I think there are still a number of discounted passes available for Indoors Conference. So if you're interested in attending one of the leading Indonesia-Australia business and trade conferences, please message IA Queensland, and they'll be happy to provide you that discount code. That's everything from me, so I'll pass it back. Thank you, Claudia.
Thanks, Andalib. And next we will have our communications portfolio by Rosie.
Thank you, Claudia. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Perfect. My name's Rosie. I'm the Director of Communications. Just going to go through some highlights from the last 2 years for the communications portfolio. Something that we've consistently maintained is posting regularly on IA's social media, 1 to 2 times a week, give or take. One of our biggest achievements has been our increase in Instagram followers, which has gone up for 47.74% since like this BOD started, which is great. Instagram is definitely our biggest growth point, which is amazing. On the right, we can see some statistics from our Instagram account over the last 2 years as well, which is great. Another thing, as mentioned earlier, is that we've introduced the new Wave, which is also moved our links, which is our Monday newsletter, over to Wave, moving away from MailChimp. We're still kind of in a bit of a transition period with that, figuring out the usability for our offices. So that's still a work in progress, I guess, but that was a big change. We've tried to introduce more video content and reels to increase engagement. I think that's also reflected in the statistics that we have for Instagram. We've created and published the iAnnual 2023 and 2024, and we've also had a lot more partnered content with our partners that Andalib was just going through, which is great. Next slide. Here's just a look at our current statistics. I've also included the stats for the Instagrams for the chapters. So on the right, we can see that Jakarta is one of the biggest, has the biggest following, and then Jogja. But it just shows the scope of, like, if just the IA National, we have 27,665 currently, and then including all our chapters, we actually have such a huge audience, which is amazing. Obviously, we would have some double ups, but still, majority of our followers are from Indonesia, 68% specifically Jakarta, which has always really been the case. And our dominant age range is 25 to 34, so still within our target audience, which is great. This does not include our link subscribers as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. But thanks, Claudia.
Thanks, Rosie. So cool how he just keeps on growing. So I would recommend the next BOD to really make use of this. All right, next we have our operations portfolio. So that would be by Matt. You can share your screen.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, wherever you are. Just let me know if you can share my screen, if you can see my screen, because
Yeah, we
Yep.
can. Thanks.
everything's all good. Awesome. So, Ops update. We've already gone through the structure, but we've added 2 new chapters in Jawa Timur and Bali, and as you can see, there's a lot of teams underneath me. I would like to mention that even though Congress is also underneath me, the Congress team is very much overseen not only by me but also the president, partnerships and memberships, and also the finance team as well. So it's a team effort there. This is who we are. So I'm Director of Operations. We have Sakai as Digital Ops Coordinator, Katika as Australian Ops Coordinator, Biba as the Indonesian Coordinator, and Norman, who's in this call as well, as my Web and IT Officer. And we had Tyler, who was our previous one as Empowerment Coordinator. I'd like to thank each and one of them for making my life very easy and very fun as well over the past year or so. We've had a number of women's empowerment events over the past couple of years. The latest one was our International Women's Day live webinar, and also our Women's Anthology History Month, which was led by Tyler and by Jazz respectively as well. And we also have a video series with Trailblazers, Women Leaders in the Oz Indo Space, which has been uploaded to our website. So if you haven't seen that already, please do log on. It's all on our website as well. The digital ops team events as well, they've been centered mainly around Flex and also assisting online collaborative events between Australian and Indonesian chapters. Web and IT, so there's always a rolling program of updates and fixes. A lot of that work is behind the scenes that you may not see, but it's definitely an ongoing role and a lot of work. We've also centralized control of, Google Drive, Admin, Wave, website, Nala, everything with Web and IT. So any issues that we have, it's all under control and can be managed by Norman. And we'll also be updating the website to reflect the addition of new chapters and new content. So 2025 stats. Last time we did this, we did it in Congress and we looked at 2024 stats, but let's see how the year has gone by so far. So in total, we've hosted 138 events in 2025, which is amazing because that is one event every 1.5 days on average. We've had 87 events in Australia, 65 for Indonesian chapters, for national chapters, national as well, and a number of them have been collaborative as well. We've had 9 collaborative events between multiple chapters, even up to 6 chapters across both countries, which is really great. And I think it's a testament to the effect of Congress that we had. Bringing everyone together just made everyone just know each other and collaborate more. So yes, going through physical, online, hybrid events, we can see that the 2025 graph is lower, but that's because we're only halfway through. However, it's still matching the trend that when online events are slowing down, but I believe they're plateauing, and our physical events and hybrid events matching that trend from the previous years, month by month. Again, the trends are aligning with what we saw in 2024. It's just with 2024, we've had that boost in, I think events from May to October might have been due to like low-level study sessions done by a number of chapters. So that might look like an anomaly, but we're now in July, which is a bit of a low point, and then it should increase from July onwards. With our Australian chapters, you can have a brief look there as to how you're performing in terms of the amount of events you're doing so far. South Australia doing quite well at this point in time. And yeah, this also takes into account, larger events, smaller scale events that are done more on a weekly basis. So Indonesian chapters, we now have Bali and also Jawa Timur coming into the fold. So yeah, and they're doing quite well for 2025. In terms of the types of collaborations, the collaborative events is still slowly increasing in 2025, and I think it's just matching the trend from the previous years as well across all the chapters and our total events there. So it looks like there's a drop, but we're only halfway through 2025, and I think we're on track to equal the number of events, or if not increase the number of events from 2024. And yeah, across Indonesia, Australia, and AYA, the trend line is still continuing, where we have slightly more events in the Australian chapters compared to Indonesian chapters. The national source events have gone through a bit of a decline, and in terms of the total, I think we're going to match the 2024 numbers at this rate. I just also had a quick look at our 2025 statistics in terms of the attendees. This is based on estimates from your pre-event forms that you all fill out very diligently. And yes, we do look at it. And this is one of the reasons why. So we can have a look at how we're going so far as a whole organization. And we've had, believe it or not, 2,135 total attendees for all AYA events thus far in 2025, all online, in person. And in terms of the breakdown, that's also the breakdown you see there per chapter. So compared to the number of events, you can see in average out, how many attendees you have roughly per chapter. So in Australia, we have WA doing quite well, even though the number of events was much lower compared to other chapters, and same thing with NTT as well in Indonesia. And actually, it splits around. In Indonesia, we have more attendees compared to the number of attendees we have for Australian chapter events. And that's how it looks like on the graph. You can see, yes, number of chapters are doing quite well for this year so far. And same with Indonesian chapters here. And in terms of how we divide it up here, so we've had more attendees in Australia for Indonesian chapter events compared to Australian chapter events. We've also got a decent number of national events that have had the number of attendees, like our school, a number of school visits that have been organized by myself and Claudia, and the total is 2,135, which I think deserves like a round of applause for everyone. So major goals, I think, for the past 2 years is that, well, when I came into this position, I didn't realize that how big it was. Over 200 AYA volunteers within the operations team structure, including all the chapter committees and volunteers, which is a gargantuan task. And on top of that, we added, I assisted in the proposals for 2 new chapters with Jawa Timur and also Bali, which I think is the first major expansion in the decade, excluding the AYA East Indonesia split into Sulawesi Selatan and NTT. With all of our updates to our processes and new systems, had to also provide some training, a lot of updates, follow up on fixes for all those new membership platforms as well. The boost in AA grant funding has been really great, and it's great to see that all the chapters have been utilizing that as much as possible, but also getting across the key messaging across the whole organization, all the chapters regarding what our outcomes are and how to achieve the grant outcomes has also been quite a challenge. I think we've been quite successful in the ops team by filtering down that information from the top down. And also Congress, with strategic planning, being involved in the strategic planning weekends for both Congresses as well. I think I've been able to increase transparency and also data sharing, especially around our events performance and also attendances as seen in the couple slides below. And there's been many more like achievements, goals, reflections, too much to put into this 5-minute presentation. So thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure, and I'll hand it back to Claudia.
Thanks, Matt. I think we can all agree that the ops portfolio is extremely large and you've done a great job. So thank you for your work. We'll now move on to our NILA presentation. It'll be by Jade and Sophie.
Thanks, Claudia. I'm not presenting. Give me 1 second. Share. Okay. Yes. Great. Let me present this. Hi, everyone. I'm Jade. I've been part of NILA since 2019 and been a director since 2023. So quickly, what is NILA? So NILA is part of IAR, and it's the National Australian Indonesian Language Awards, and it's our annual Indonesian competition, open for all Aussies, and it fosters the development of Indonesian language learning at all levels. It happens every year in a sense. There's a new theme that we figure out, and it is open from all ages. And the main reason for NILA is to recognize language learning and to reward those skilled and to encourage deeper communication, respect, understanding between our two nations. In 2023, I co-directed with Addie, and the theme was Makanan food, and we received a total of 86 submissions for that year. And 2023 was a very historical moment for us because it was our very first time hosting the NILA Awards ceremony outside of Melbourne, and we did it in Sydney at the Glebe Town Hall. And we also continued to collaborate with the AII Awards, the Australia Indonesia Institute, and we also were very successful in achieving 8 sponsorships. And you can see some pictures here, and it's always a fun event. And now I'll pass it on to Sophie, who's co-directing with me this year, and she will talk about 2024, sorry.
Thanks, Jade. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophie. So moving on to 2024, we hosted our awards ceremony and awards weekend in Canberra. Like Jade said, a new location every year. That's kind of our goal moving forward. We received an increase in submissions with 96 submissions from all different states and territories around Australia, which was amazing. Again, our award ceremony was in collaboration with AII. We also held our cultural workshop at the Indonesian Embassy. It had a gamelan and wayang kulit workshop, which you can see some photos there. We had also a record high of 19 sponsors, which is the highest that we've ever had. So a massive thank you to Andalib and the partnerships team for all of their work. And it really, helps us moving forward as well. So 2025, we're planning to have our award ceremony in Brisbane this year, on the 22nd of November. Our theme for this year is sport. So what are the benefits of engaging in sport in their communities? Already we have over 90 submissions, and the competition is closing tomorrow night. So hopefully there'll be a few more last minute entries in the next 24 hours. If you just flip to the next slide, Jade, we've got all of our socials and contacts so that, you guys can follow the competition for the rest of the year.
Thanks, ladies. I'll just back to sharing. Thank you so much for what you've been doing in NILA, and best of luck for the awards ceremony at the end of this year. So now we've moved on to the very exciting part, I would say, of this call, and this is now the election of the 2025 to 2027 Board of Directors. So the way that we will run this process is we'll go through each of the positions, starting off with National President. I will announce the nominated candidate, and then that nominated candidate will have 2 minutes to present to the call and the people in this Zoom call about why they should be successful in this role that they have applied for. At the end of the 2 minutes, I will say your 2 minutes have ended and you would need to stop your presentation. After that, we will then put it to the rest of the people in this call, specifically the National Council, and that includes the Board of Directors, the chapter presidents, and the proxies that the chapter presidents have nominated to represent themselves. If you are a nominated candidate and not any of those positions, please do not vote. I myself am the returning officer, so I will not be reapplying for the national president position or any of the board of director positions, meaning that I do not have a vote. As a result, there is 19 people in this call who have voting rights. As I said, board of directors, which are 6 people because Wes and myself aren't voting, and we have now 13 chapters. That's your entitlement to vote, and this is all in line with section 13 of the Constitution, specifically section 13.2 and 13.4. So 13.2 is about the appointment of directors, meaning that we need to have it in a general meeting, which we have here. Everyone needs to be present, enough notice must have made. So for example, we did the call for nominations on our social media. We had the application process, so everyone had to put in a physical application or written application, and then we had the interview process where myself, Andalib, and some of the board of directors who aren't reapplying assisted in interviewing each of the candidates to see their suitability for the role. If that candidate was not successful in the role that they applied for, there are a few reasons. One is if they are not an IR member. So to be a director, you have to be an IR member. Secondly, if the person did not understand what the role they were applying for, so some people came into the call and didn't know what they were applying for, what position it was, what IR is, so that was just very clear that they weren't suitable for the role. Thirdly, just even experience or knowledge about what is required in the workload of that role, because taking on a board of director position means that you are not only liable in IR, but also legally liable as directors of an organisation that is registered in Australia. So that was the process from the applications to where we are now. So from those interviews, we have shortlisted the candidates for each of the positions, which are all in this call. I think we are just missing one, which we'll mention later. In regards to Rule 13.4, everyone nominates themselves, and then in regards to voting, so that's Rule 11 of the Constitution, the entitlement to vote, as I said, is board of directors, chapter presidents, and proxies nominated by chapter presidents to represent themselves. What will happen is you'll have your 2-minute speech, and if there is more than one candidate, then Andalib will assist me by putting a link in the chat, this Zoom chat, and to vote for who out of the 2 or 3 candidates you would prefer. This is all anonymous, and then we will reveal that. If there's only one candidate for the position, then they will have their speech, and then I will ask to this call, does anyone object to this person being successful in the role as XYZ? And then if anyone does object, please say something verbally in this call, say I object, and then I will ask why, and then we will go from there. Either if I think that a reason is reasonable, then we'll have to go through another round of nominations and applications. If someone doesn't object, then that person is successful. Any questions before we start this process? No? All right. So just a heads up here, you can see all the available positions and nominees. So for the national president position, I will now call Anastasia Koo to present for 2 minutes. Anastasia, are you in the call? Just make yourself known. You unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, yes, I am present.
Thank you. Would you like me to unshare my screen if you wanted to reshare?
No, that's fine. I was trying to share my screen, but technology is not working, so I'll just speak. That's fine.
Okay. Well, your 2 minutes start now. Thank you.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Anastasia. The reason why I'm nominated for this position and why I believe I'll be really successful is because just my life revolves around Australia, Indonesia. Within my personal life, I'm an Australian of Indonesian heritage. I'm very passionate about advocating for the space. Educationally, academically, I'm studying Asian studies and history in hopes of studying a PhD on Indonesian history. I've done Indonesian historiography courses in Leiden, Philip Marburg, as well as ANU, and I'm a New Columbia Plan Scholar for Indonesia for 2025, and I'll be in Indonesia from August onwards. Professionally, I've interpreted for the DPR Waldo in Perth. I worked with Perth US Asia to create Indonesia Australia content, and I currently work with the WA state government as part of the Asia engagement team. Most recently, I don't know if you guys have seen, to deliver the Persebaya match against WA, so that was really, really cool. And volunteer-wise, I've volunteered for NILA since 2022 or 23, even before IOWA exists. Currently, I sit within the executive team of IOWA and helped re-establish the chapter through an amazing relaunch. I intern at the Indonesia Institute. I participated with the Australian ASEAN 50 Years Summit as part of the initiative that I National did. And I was recently appointed Cause ND CEO as well. So as someone who is a president, who was a president and has been within the chapters, I can see how things work from the ground up, noticing the gaps that potentially exist. So I've got a few aims that I don't know if I'll have time to discuss, but mainly connecting across chapters more, professional development, but also legacy planning and making sure that we have enough people to fill in the roles. We have, I think it was 300 volunteers, but I don't believe that that's actually a reflection of the people who are actively volunteering, and that's an issue that I definitely know that we need to address.
Sorry,
in terms
Anastasia,
of...
your 2
That's okay.
minutes have been
It was
up.
right there, so it worked out. All good, thank you.
Thanks, Anastasia. So now moving on to the voting. Since Anastasia is the only candidate for the national president position, we now have 2 minutes. I'm just going to reset my timer for anyone to object. So I'm starting now. If you would like to object, please say I object verbally. Sorry, 1 minute. That was my bad. Okay, congratulations, Anastasia. You are now the national president of the Australia-Indonesia Youth Association. Congratulations.
That was the longest 2 minutes of my life.
It was one, but yeah.
Sorry,
Congratulations, Anastasia. All right, so next we
Thank you,
are moving
everybody.
on to, yeah, I'm sure we'll see it all through, but let's go on to the next one, and then at the end we can do massive congrats, guys. Next we're moving on to the company secretary position. If I call out your name and you are present, can you please say I'm present? Because there are 3 candidates for this position. So first, Nandira.
Present.
Beautiful. Zalsabila.
Present.
Yep. And Anissa.
Present.
All right, beautiful. So we'll start off with Nandira. Your 2 minutes start now.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am very excited and honored to be presenting for the position of ION National's Company Secretary. So firstly, a very special thank you to Claudia, Wes, and Andalib for their nomination. Now, some of you may not know me or my background, so to introduce myself, my name is Nandira Xavier, and I'm a 3rd year student at Monash University here in Melbourne, studying a Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Global Asia. But most importantly, my passions and interests lie in the Australia and Indonesia sector. I'm half Indonesian and studied Bahasa at a Saturday language school from grade 6 all the way to year 12, and then further continued my Indonesian studies at Monash, where I was the Indonesian Studies Ambassador for Open Day in 2024 and 2023. And 2023 was also the year I applied for NILA and luckily became the tertiary winner for that year, and which also led me to joining NILA in the following year, in 2024, as a language officer, which I've been really enjoying so far. But what drew me to the company secretary role in particular is specifically its focus on legal governance and policy work within AYA, as well as managing the people and culture team. I'm currently a paralegal at the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre and was previously a court service officer at the Magistrates Court of Victoria. And in these roles, I have developed strong skills in document and government processes and organisation. I was also previously a customer service supervisor in retail and gained skills in team leadership and complaint management. And earlier this year, I was a deputy editor for the Monash Law Student Society Law Guide, and strengthened my skills in policy development and team management. As company secretary, I am.
Sorry, Nandira, your 2 minutes are up now.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Right, next we're calling Sasabila. Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So I'm Zaz.
Sorry,
Thank
Zaz.
you so much
Hold
for
on,
the
I'll just pause your
opportunity.
time. Zaz, I'll just pause your time. You've just got in 11 seconds, but we
Okay.
can't hear you as clearly. I don't know if it's just myself. Anyone else? Assuming.
You hear me?
Yeah, we
Is
can
this
hear
better?
you now. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Okay,
So
your 2 minutes resume now. Thank you.
okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity tonight. So I would like to begin by my quick recap about myself in AYA. So I've been involved in AYA since 2019. It's been 5 years for me. And being involved in AYA for over 5 years has nothing short of transformative professionally, but also personally for me. The moment I joined AYA as the chapter officer and then become the chapter president, now serving as people and culture coordinator, which is under the company secretary. I realized that this organization is really something for me personally. Each role gives me an insight to AYA structure, especially and along AYA this past 5 years. With experience, I assume this was my starter pack that can equip me with these leadership skills, cultural understanding, and of course, organizational knowledge, especially in AYA, that I believe it was the essential things for the board of directors, especially of the company secretary positions. Well, within all, I feel confident with this, to step into the more strategic role where I could still continue contributing in AYA. And I believe with my continuity, experience, and passions are the main key that, of course, I will bring on the table if I was chosen as the company secretary. I think that's all from me. Thank you once again for the trust and the chance to continuing serving this incredible AYA. Thank you. Back to Claudia.
Thanks so much, Sas, for your presentation. Next we have Anissa. Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. My name is Anissa, and I'm deeply honored to be considered for the role of Company Secretary at AYA. I believe that a strong organization is not only built by what happens on the stage, but also by the system, commitment, and clarity behind it. That's exactly where I want to contribute. I see the Company Secretary not just as administrator, but as someone who ensures AYA's internal governance is solid, our communication flow efficiently, and that our decision-making process are well informed and well documented. My background in organizational coordination and documentation has taught me how to manage minutes, track accountability and super internal cohesion while respecting deadlines and maintaining transparency. However, my vision for this role goes beyond the internet sector. While I understand this position works mostly behind the scenes, I believe it plays a crucial role in amplifying AI's presence externally. Through my observations, AI already runs meaningful programs, but I believe we can strengthen our outreach, particularly through digital communication and social media. As someone who has worked on impact-driven projects, I'm passionate about ensuring that our event don't just serve our members, but also reach wider youth audience, those who haven't yet found a platform like Aya. I also hope to support cross-division coordination so that our initiatives are not only well executed but well communicated. Because what we do internally should reflect outwardly with stories that resonate and systems that sustain. And sure, I'm not here just to serve, but to strengthen, not just to manage, but to multiple our collective impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa. So now Andalib will share in the group chat, or like in the chat of this Zoom call, the link to vote. So I'll let Andalib do that. So there's two questions. One is to ask whether you are from the BOD or from a chapter. And then the second one is who you would prefer as company secretary for the next 2 years.
Thank you, Claudia. I'm placing the company secretary voting form in the chat now.
So everyone will get about 2 minutes to submit that. And there should be 19 responses from all BOD chapter presidents and their proxies. Sorry, I'm making you guys go through this waiting process too. We are waiting on 4 more responses. Okay, we've got all 19 responses. And the new company secretary for the next term, so 2025 to 2027, is Nandira. Congratulations, Nandira. And congratulations to the other candidates as well. You had great presentations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we'll be going to the Director of Operations position. So Matthew, if you're here, please say I am present.
I'm present. Sorry, I just finished.
And Jason, if you are here, please say you are present. I think Jason isn't on the call from my understanding. Can I have someone else also confirm that, Andalib?
Yes, I've just rechecked and he doesn't appear to be on the call. I did send him a follow-up email, but he hasn't responded as of yet.
Okay, thanks, Andalib. So in this case, Matthew, you are the only nomination for the Director of Operations. Therefore, the voting will just be verbal versus via form. You will have 2 minutes to present, and that starts now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Hashim. I'm the current Director of Operations, and I'm applying to stay in this role for the next 2 years. My experience with Aya goes back to 2018, and I've been in Aya for around 7 years now. I've been involved in the community organization space for around 9 years, including my time at university. And within the last 2 years, I've been the Director of Operations, where I currently lead, where I've led the largest division within Aya with now 13 chapters and 4 coordinators under my supervision. The big highlights of my experience these past 2 years has been being the key person within the national team in helping to assist the creation of 2 new chapters, one in Bali and also one in Jawa Timur, which hasn't been done in around over a decade in IR. In my day-to-day activities, as I lead a team of essentially up to 200 volunteers, there's a lot of fixing things, a lot of requests that come to me, and I essentially know the organization inside out and know where to find all the answers, know where all the pain points are when certain questions come to me from chapters to other board of directors as well. So I'm quite well experienced in my role, and that will help not only the next board of directors but also the current set of chapter presidents. Personally, I've not only led through effective management, but also leading through leadership in organizing myself a number of key events. In 2023, I helped organize in Sydney
Sorry,
the
Matthew.
Petualangan Serena screening, which was okay. All good.
Sorry, Matt, your 2 minutes are up. Thank you for your presentation. So now we will have 1 minute, and starting now, if anybody objects, please say I object to Matthew being the Director of Operations. All right, congratulations, Matt. Matthew is continuing as the Director of Operations. Thanks, Matt. All right, next we have our Director of Partnerships and Memberships role. We have one nominated candidate, and that is Caitlin Williams. Are you present?
Hello, yep.
Beautiful. Just can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, is my
Thanks,
camera
Caitlin.
working?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All good. All right, so you will have 2 minutes to present, and your time starts now.
Okay, hi everyone, my name's Caitlin. I'm very passionate about the Australia-Indonesia bilateral relationship and the importance of socio-cultural and interpersonal linkages more broadly. So I'm running to be the next Director of Partnerships and Memberships, and I'm focused on bringing a strategic and revenue-focused approach to IO partnerships. So I have experience in negotiating partnerships for youth organisations broadly. In my previous role as President of the Sydney Art Student Society, I negotiated and secured a partnership with a major Sydney hospitality chain, which waived our venue hire and DJ fees, allowing our events to be more financially accessible to our members. I also secured a deal for complimentary beverages for our major events and delivered an industry networking night with several corporate sponsors. So in my current role in Jakarta, I've been conducting market research into bilateral Indonesia-Australia trading patterns and broader market trends in each country. Hence, I have an understanding of emerging industries and commercial opportunities for sponsorship propositions, which align with AYA's strategic objectives and brand broadly. I've previously been employed at Ticketek Australia and have experience with IT membership systems, which I would hope to apply to manage AYA's Wave CRM and member portal in order to ensure data accuracy and utilization by national and chapter branches and a positive member experience. So I want to ensure that any new partnership opportunities complement AYA's existing relationships. I want to position AYA as a strategic value addition and mutually beneficial investment for prospective partners. So if I'm elected, I'll focus on tapping into commercial revenue streams, pursuing government and grant funding, and then enhancing Wave CRM and member engagement systems. Oh my gosh, sorry. So I'd be honored to represent AYA. Thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin. Since you are the only nominated candidate for this position, so it will be verbal, we'll have 1 minute starting now. If anybody chooses to object, please verbally state I object and let us know the reason why. Okay, Berchanda, I'm glad you put that in, Tom. All right, the 1 minute is up. Congratulations, Caitlin. You are now the Director of Partnerships and Memberships for the next term. Congratulations.
Thanks, everyone.
And yes, just responding to Tom's comment, overqualified is good for partnerships and memberships, much needed in Aya. All right, so our final position is the Director of Communications, and we have two nominated candidates. So the first one is Muhammad Hafiz. Can you please say present if you're here?
Present.
Beautiful. And the second is Tri Nurmalina. So Lina, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Beautiful. So we'll start off with Hafiz on his 2-minute presentation. Your time starts now.
All right. Good evening. Selamat malam, everyone. My name is Muhammad Hafiz Al-Furqan, but you can simply call me Hafiz. Currently, I'm studying Creative Industries and Media Communications at Macquarie University under the Australian Award Scholarship. It's a great privilege to be nominated as the candidate of the Director of Communications at Aya National. Rooted in Aya's mission to connect, inform, and inspire, several initiatives are envisioned. Interactive digital spaces, such as digital event collaborators, can be introduced to foster engagement amongst members, partners, and collaborators across all chapters. Wider collaborations in the media landscape is also essential by working alongside government bodies, youth content creators, and relevant media stakeholders. My goal is streamlining content related to career development, business opportunities, exchange, and scholarships. Young people across both nations, especially those in remote areas, can be better equipped for their future. One proposed project is a digital book titled 100 Inspiring Youth, Australia, Indonesia. These publications would feature stories of changemakers from diverse regions and backgrounds from both countries. To end this speech, I have a pantun. Jalan-jalan ke Jakarta, don't forget to use Garuda. Mari kita bekerja sama, use Indonesia and Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Hafiz. All right, so our next candidate is Lina. Your 2 minutes start now.
Thank you very much, everyone, for having me. My name is Tri Nurmalina Pambudi. Everyone call me Lina. And currently I'm serving as coordination of communication for Aya Nationals, especially in publishing. And currently I also work full-time for the publishing company in Europe as a editorial that foresee more than thousands and millions of followers in social media. So I hope by having these skills and already innate experience with Aya in the past 2 years, I hope that I could implement my skills, especially in reviving Aya social media and communications with the external. My goals is to support the memberships and partnerships portfolio in enhancing its in increasing the number of membership with Aya, because we already have seen a decline in the past years. By creating more engaging content through the Aya platforms and channels of communications. Also, I would like to have a strategic training routine for the team members in the communications portfolio, because and updating the guideline for the coordinators and team members, because currently we have a shifting in our systems. And also lastly, I hope that I can reviving blog team to be more active in the future and see a potential possibility to leverage the blog in support of generating profit for future events and so on. Well, that's all for me. Thank you very much.
2 minutes on the dot. Thank you, Katlina. All right, so since there are two candidates, I'll ask Andalib to paste the link for the form. And then, as I mentioned before, only Board of Directors, chapter presidents, and the proxies may vote.
Thank you, Claudia. I am placing the form in the Zoom chat now.
We're waiting on one more. I think that's just coming through now. Okay. Very close, I must say, between the two of you. So our new Director of Communications is Hafiz. Congratulations to both candidates for your presentations and all the work you've put into comms and the role. So thank you so much, guys, and congratulations. All right. So since we have now got our new Board of Directors, I'm just waiting for it to be updated on the Canva on our presentation. Andalib, are we all ready to go?
Ready to go, Claudia.
Beautiful. All right, so thank you, everyone. The results are Anastasia Koo for National President, Nandira for Company Secretary, Caitlin for Director of Partnerships and Memberships, Hafiz for Director of Communications, and Matt for Director of Operations. Congratulations to our new team. Woo! And also congratulations to all the nominated candidates. I know it took a lot of time to put in your applications, write them up, go through the interviews, and then also prepare for today. I hope that you know being able to even be nominated for the director position is a massive achievement because it means that we think you're also eligible for this position. We had such amazing candidates and nominations, and I hope this also means you can be involved in IR still to your preferred capacity. So whether that be in a coordinator role, an officer role, a chapter or national as well. So congratulations everyone for all your hard work. Congratulations to our new team. Just announcing that as just a reminder for National Treasurer, the interim is still Beamer. He's kind of stuck in this role, but no, the National Treasurer position is done with a resolution. So once we find a suitable candidate for this position, because it does require more skills and much more training, then a resolution will be put to the National Council. But other than that, I want to say thank you to everyone on this call. Thank you to my team, my board of directors. Thank you to all the chapter presidents. Thank you to also the chapters, all the volunteers. So whether that be in a chapter level, on a national level, no matter what position you're doing, everyone's contributing to IR and contributing to this bilateral relationship. It's a little bit, I guess, emotional stepping down from this role, even though I did one term in the 2 years, but I think we've all learned so much in these positions and we've experienced so much. So I just really, really want to say thank you to everyone for the support, putting up with me and, you know, whenever I decide to be active on WhatsApp, attending meetings, which I know are always at different times of the day, and also just putting together a great team and also doing your roles very diligently. So I appreciate it all. Wouldn't have been possible without you. We can see all the successes that we've had over the past 2 years and also what needs to be worked on for the next BOD. I guess next steps for the new board of directors is that our old directors will be in contact with you about handover over the next month or 2 months. it'll be a bit of a process, but I'm sure it'll be rewarding. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for attending this call, and yeah, just thank you for supporting me as well through this role. A little bit sad, but also happy to step down. Thanks everyone. Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Claudia.
Wait,